Hello everyone, I am RENIEL and CARDORA.
I am WENNA PASQUIN.
And I am JESTINE ANDREA DERRAMAS. And we are your reporters for
Standard Professional Practice, Comprehensive Professional Services. The concept of comprehensive architectural services crystallized through the years in response to the demands of emerging complex building projects. The transition of the architectural profession from providing the basic and the additional services to that of comprehensive nature is due to the realization that continuity of services related to design and construction is necessary for the execution of completely viable project.
Comprehensive architectural services refers to the range of professional services that covers pre-design services, regular design services, special architectural services, construction services, and post-construction services.
The architect is not expected to perform all services. Rather, he is to act as the agent of the client in procuring all and coordinating the necessary services required by a project.
Pre-design services includes: first is the consultation. A design consultation gives you an architect's expertise for a limited time at a reasonable price. Think of a design consultation as a house call. We visit your home, discuss and sketch possibilities, and answer basic questions about cost and construction alternative for various home improvements. Feasibility studies. Feasibility studies helps real estate developers and investors understand the viability of their development goals for a property. Our feasibility studies are always tailored to meet a client's needs. 4. Site selection and analysis. A site is selected on the basis of the demand of the construction. Site analysis is very important before we initiate our construction. Detailed study of site and its surroundings will help justify our design proposal. 5th is site utilization and land use studies. The detailed analysis of the site involves the identification of a site's development potentials through the proper utilization of land. The analysis covers the context of the site as well as its surrounding environment and the development controls that apply to the site and its environment. Next is the architectural research. Entails the conduct of primary and secondary researches and assembled facts used as basis for conclusion. Architectural programming. This analytical problem-seeking process will lead to the statement and identification of both horizontal and vertical requirements in offering a solution. It incorporates a space program with characterizations of the envisioned spaces such as ambience, cost range, etc. Space planning. The architect determines the adequate size and appropriate configuration and assemblage for a proposed project in consideration of the use, allocation and interface of space for given activities. Space planning is done mainly through primary data gathering such as interviews, consultations, interfaces, focus group discussions, space planning surveys, space audits, and etc. Space management studies, an analysis of the space requirements of the project based on an organizational structure and functional set of pinpoints, linkages, and interaction of spaces. Value management. This technique is applied in the cost management process to minimize the negative effect of simplified operation associated with many cost reduction programs. The goal of the value management is achieve an unimpaired program at minimum cost. Design brief preparation. Under design brief preparation, the architect states the project term of reference, including the concept, objectives, and other necessary requirements to bid out architectural services. Lastly, promotional services. Projects may require promotional activities in order to develop and generate financial support and acceptance from governing agencies or from the general public.
Let's go to the design services. First is the schematic design phase. In this phase, the architectural design team begins to translate the client's wishes into a building design concept. This may involve sketches, drawings, 3D architectural design process, design becomes a reality. The architect produces two sets of detailed drawings that specify every detail of their final design. Next, we have the bidding phase. If the building is a design-build project that is designed and built by the same firm, there is no need to field bid from the construction contractor. If no contractors came pre-attached, the client and the architect interview contractors and solicit competitive bids. Okay, last is the construction phase. In this final phase, the architect's role shifts from creative design to project management. While they don't physically manage the job site, they make regular site visits to ensure that the project is being executed according to their plans. Go.
Specialized allied architecture.
Go.
Architectural interiors. The architect plans and designs of the architectural interiors of buildings such they contribute to the physical, visual, intellectual, and emotional comforts of the intended end users. Is the acoustic design. Acoustic design services involves the detailed planning and design to control sound transmission for compatibility with the architectural design concept. Next is the architectural lighting layout and design. Architectural lighting layout and design services involves the detailed planning and design of light transmission, timing, and control for compatibility with the architectural design concept. Next is site development planning. The space planning, architectural layouting, and utilization of spaces within and the surrounding a specific building, structure in relation with existing natural and or built environments have to be a well-coordinated effort so that both the building or structures and the host environment shall act as one. Next is site and physical planning services, including master development. The orderly arrangement within a piece of land or property on which vertical structures such as buildings, monuments, and the like, as well as horizontal developments such as rights-of-way, open spaces, and activity spaces are to be proposed. Next is the comprehensive development planning. Comprehensive development planning covers the range of all services from primary data gathering through the formulation of the MDP and the parallel preparation of the environmental impact assessment. Next is the historic and cultural heritage, conservation, and planning. The suitably trained and experienced consulting architect in this area of architectural practice provide research, assessment, recording, management, interpretation, and conservation of historic heritage. Security evaluation and planning. The consulting architect in this area of practice arranges and formulate methods of rating and ascertaining the value of structures or facilities, which must be fully secured, kept safe, protected, assured, guaranteed, and provided sufficient safeguards for the conduct of any work or activity.
Next is the building systems design. The architect in this area of practice engages in methods of producing building components in a highly engineered, efficient, and cost-effective manner, particularly for residential and commercial applications. Next is the facilities maintenance support. The consulting architect in this area of practice provides the owner with means and measures to ensure the proper function and maintenance of the building and site after final inspection. Next, building testing and commissioning. The architect in this area of practice recommends the systematic process of ensuring that the building array of systems is planned, designed, installed, and tested to perform according to the design intent and the building's operational needs.
Building environmental certification. A building environment rating system is needed to evaluate the environmental performance of a building and to encourage market migration toward sustainable design. Forensic architecture in building. The architect in this area of practice undertakes a scientific study on the built environment well-being, which allows the architect to focus on the ways in which the building or structure can best maintain itself and prolong its life in a cost-efficient manner, and finally provide recommendation to the owner or client. Structural conceptualization. The architect in this area of practice conceives, chooses, and develops the type, disposition, arrangement, and proportioning of the structural elements of an architectural work, giving due consideration to safety, cost-effectiveness, functionality, and aesthetics. Preliminary services. The consulting architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of site analysis, space planning and management, architectural programming, and the other services. Next is the contract documentation and review. The architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of the specification writing, estimation and quantity survey, architectural production, architectural software, architectural support services, and contract document review. Next is post-design services, including the construction management services. The consulting architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of pre-construction, constructions, post-constructions, and the other services. Next is dispute avoidance and resolution. The architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of the various modes of alternative dispute resolution prescribed under RA number 9285, the ADR Act of 2004, and its IRR, example given, construction, arbitration, mediation, and conciliation, negotiation, and of contract administration, quality surveys, appraisals, and adjustment, and expert testimony. An architect specializing in ADR must preferably be stated accredited. Next is the architectural research methods. The consulting architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of research methods, Philippine architecture and its history, architectural materials and finishes, building types and standards, architectural design trends, architectural writing, and architectural photography. Next is special building or facility planning and design. The architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of the planning and design processes required for housing developments, recreational and tourism estates, healthcare and hospitality facilities, transportation, and telecommunication facilities, and such. Next is building components. The consulting architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of building materials and finishes, construction methodologies, building envelopes including the cladding and roofing system, architectural fenestration, and architectural hardware, fixtures, and fittings. Next is management of architectural practice. The architect in this area of practice must have much more than the basic knowledge of the types of architectural office operations, architectural office management, accounting or finance, taxation, audit, labor code, on architectural marketing and project development, proposals, negotiations, contracts or contract administration, file management, and limitation of business process, outsourcing, and knowledge process outsourcing operations. Under the construction services, first, there are full-time supervision services. Working in a dual capacity as architect of record and as consulting architect for full-time supervision services, or as the construction supervision group, as the architect of record of the project. The architect of record is in a better position to interpret his drawings and documents and to assure conformity by the contractor. He can assign his staff to undertake the full-time supervisory work to perform the work as enumerated in the architect's guidelines. Lastly, the construction management services. Due to the increasing complexity of construction projects, there is an upward demand for more effective cost control and faster project implementation consistent with high quality of work. Construction management services were thus instituted to fill this need in the construction industry.
Okay, next, we have the post-construction. Building and Facilities Administration. Building administration and management goes beyond maintenance and upkeep functions. It requires the services of a multidisciplinary professional who can perform a wide range of functions for the efficient and economical operations and maintenance of a building, facility, or a complex. Next is the building maintenance. Building maintenance includes a wide variety of tasks depending on the particular business or organization. It encompasses a great deal of behind-the-scenes work to ensure the facility or a building remains functional and comfortable for its use. Okay, next, we have the ground landscaping supervision. Supervise landscape constructor and gardeners for the proper watering, pruning, trimming, and maintenance of the landscape. Next is the building equipment maintenance. Assist the proper third parties in seeing to it that all equipments work, including the air condition, sprinkler system, generators, transformers, telecommunications, and other equipments are properly maintained and in good working condition. Next is the business development and management. It innovates schemes to attain maximum building occupancy. Build the tenants for rentals and utilities such as electricity, water, telephone, cables, and other related bills. Design build services by administration. The scope of design build services by administration includes the architect's regular design services such as project definition phase, schematic design phase, design development phase, contract documents phase, and lastly, the construction. And lastly, we have the design build on a guaranteed maximum cost. The services rendered is the same as that of the design build by administration. The only difference is that the architect assured the client that the project construction cost will not exceed the budget, which is the maximum cost. So we hope that you learned something from this video. That's all.
Thank you for watching.